There are several can't-miss events during the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA trade show, and one of the most popular is the CattleFax U.S. and Global Protein and Grain Outlook Seminar. And joining us now with a preview is Randy Blach from CattleFax. Randy, for those people who may be unfamiliar or may have never attended the CattleFax Outlook Seminar, tell folks about the experts you have on the agenda and the topics you'll be discussing.
Well, it's a can't-miss session. There's a lot going on in these markets, not only U.S. but globally, whether we're talking about long-range weather trends,
right,
swine fever, the impact where China has now lost about half of their hogs, the impact that'll have on U.S. exports, protein production levels, and obviously the grain environment, what that looks like. So it's a power-packed hour and a half outlook, but it's an overview for all in the industry to where they can really get a good feel of the things they need to have on the radar screen.
So give us a little bit of a sneak preview. You mentioned some of the issues, but what fundamentally is driving demand for beef, number one, and number two, just the markets in general?
Well, demand for beef has been phenomenal. If we look at the growth in demand over the course of the last 10 years, it's really been pretty unprecedented. The quality of the product that we're producing has never been better, and consumers are responding to that. So we'll go into that in some detail. I think it's important that producers out here that are at the cow-calf level that are making these breeding decisions understand what these signals mean to them over the long term.
That's fantastic. And as you think about from a price and profitability standpoint, particularly as we look ahead to 2020, what will be the key drivers of the profitability of the beef industry, in your opinion?
Well, obviously, the two key things are, do we have enough moisture? Do we have enough green grass and our grain prices and hay prices in a position that we won't see any real major events outside of these particular price ranges we've been in over the last several years. And I think that's going to be pretty solid. The key thing for our producers out here is the cattle feeders are going to make more money in 2020 than they have in 2019. Our stocker operators are in the same position. That bodes very well for cow-calf producers. When the people they're supplying inventory to are making money, that tends to be supportive to the cow-calf prices. So I'm really very optimistic from a profitability standpoint for 2020. And cyclically, again, the cattle cycle's peaking in here.
Sure.
But I do not see a big liquidation trend coming over the next several years. I think the industry is going to be very, very stable.
Very consistent. And what about the grain markets? What impact do you think those will have?
Well, we've been in a situation that grain prices have been pretty flat here for nearly 5 years now. With the supplies that we have, U.S. and globally, I do not believe that's going to change in 2020. Another year, unfortunately for grain producers, that we're not going to have a big run up in prices, but for livestock producers that rely on these grain supplies, I think they'll be in pretty good shape.
So what do you say to folks who are sitting down right now at this time of year and trying to plot out a marketing plan for the next year? What advice do you give?
Well, I think you step back and you look at what's going on. The U.S. is the largest protein producer on the planet. When we look at beef production, when we look at broiler production, we're the third largest pork producer. There's a reason for that. We're a very high quality producer. We've got the safest food supply in the world. Other countries around the world want what we produce. Exports are growing. We think we could see exports of all proteins up 1.5 billion to 2 billion pounds in 2020. That's a big deal.
That's a bunch.
And we'll approach 19 to 20 billion pounds of exports out of the U.S. into consumers around the globe. Those are the reasons that we're getting along as well as we are. We've got that underpinning in these markets. Outside demand has been excellent.
Yeah. Well, as you say, lots is changing, and there's lots of good reasons to attend the Outlook Seminar. I attended your December session, and it was absolutely phenomenal. What feedback do you get from other people who attend these meetings, these Outlook sessions, in terms of how they use it in their own business?
Well, thank you for the compliment on the Outlook session. Our staff works hard at this, and I think what I would say to all of you out there that see this, understand this is what we do. We've got an entire staff of analysts that work on this nearly 24 hours a day. We're focused on putting out the most accurate, most detailed analysis, not only on the U.S., but these global markets. they have an opportunity to see this all distilled into a what we call decision-friendly environment,
Right.
and where they can make decisions on it. I applaud what our board and staff has been able to do at CattleFax to keep us pointed in the right direction of where we can put out this type of quality of information for producers here in the United States.
And whether you have 10 cows or 10,000, this information is valuable in decision making.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is where you make your money, is being informed and being a better marketer.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Thanks for having me.
You
Appreciate it.
The CattleFax Outlook Seminar starts 7:30 a.m. this Thursday morning. Attendees will get valuable insights and information that'll help their cattle business in the year ahead. It's always one of the best attended sessions at convention, so get there early to ensure you get a great seat. Find out more and get a complete schedule of this week's events at the website ncba.org.